A father of three was killed in a Kansas jail this summer, and the way he died is reminiscent of another famous in-custody death, that of George Floyd. But the only reason we know that is because of a leak that I got. Here's what happened. A couple months ago, Charles Adair, a 50-year-old man, was booked into the Wyandotte County Jail on misdemeanor traffic warrants. On July 5th, Adair was receiving medical care at the Wyandotte County Jail Infirmary for a pre-existing wound on his leg. That was about 8:30 that night. He was being moved by wheelchair to his cell when he had an altercation with guards. That's according to a report from the Kansas Bureau of Investigation. Staff were called in at 8:37 p.m. He was pronounced dead at 9:19 p.m. So originally, the KBI says that agents did not observe any obvious signs of physical injury on Adair. About 2 months later, the KBI released a follow-up statement. A final autopsy determined that Adair had suffocated and determined his death to be a homicide. That was the big news there. So what both the initial and those follow-up reports don't share is that a deputy was kneeling on Adair's back while he was being restrained. That was the part that I found in the coroner's report that was leaked to me. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation also didn't mention other facts found in the coroner's report, such as the coroner's findings that Adair had multiple rib fractures, a sternal fracture, and bruising on the top of his back and shoulders. When Adair was being restrained, officers used a common police tactic known as prone restraint, or handcuffing someone face down. This tactic became infamous when it was used in the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis in 2020, but it has been known to be deadly since the mid-1990s. There are still lots of questions about what happened to Charles Adair last July. Key among them is what exactly happened during the 7 minutes when he was being wheeled back to his cell and when medical staff was called. So KBI has sent that initial investigation report to the Wyandotte County District Attorney's Office, and they're considering charges. I also reached out to the Sheriff's Department. They had no comment on this, other than to say they would be looking at it administratively. They would not answer my questions about whether the deputy still works there or whether he followed proper procedure. For KCUR, I'm Peggy Lowe.